He struggled into the carriage after Dr. Metha, using a firm grip on either side of the door at the back to swing his awkward legs up and over his difficult steps. He cursed under his breath as he hit his knee. "And how is little Anasuyabehn?" he inquired, as Dr. Metha and he settled themselves on the side seats. "She was about to be married last time you mentioned her in your letters." Dr. Metha arranged his white dhoti neatly around his legs before he answered. His ascetic-looking face registered an uneasy frown. Finally he said, "Her betrothed died, so she's not yet married. Being motherless makes life a little more difficult for her than it should be, but I shall arrange another marriage for her soon. She must have time to recover." He did not mention a grave shortage of suitable young men in his caste, or that he had left his child's marriage rather late, because he found it hard to part with her. John nodded politely. "She's getting into touch with your father's old servant Ranjit. He felt sure you would like to have him to serve you. He went back to his village after your father died." John was delighted. "I'd like to have him very much," he said. Ranjit was a Hindu, and he remembered the happy hours he had spent nestled against his strong, kindly peasant, listening to his harsh country dialect as he told him tales of the great Arjun and of Ram and his faithful Sita. He also remembered suddenly his gentle, easygoing Aya, who had taken him with her to pray in Jain temples. He could almost feel again his offering of flowers clutched in his hand. The carriage jogged along the narrow streets. Women were standing in queues to draw water from street taps to carry up to their families who lived over the open-fronted shops. From behind white saris or red veils, they peeked shyly at the strange Englishman. In the moneylenders' quarter, the sweepers were busy brushing the pavements with small rush brooms. They worked their way phlegmatically in and out amongst the beggars, who sat on their heels with their backs against the high compound walls surrounding the moneylenders' communal family homes. The carriage swept through the ancient red gate, and John caught a glimpse of the temple to which his ayah used to take him when he was a little boy. It had a double row of lepers lining its imposing steps from top to bottom. Then, within a few minutes, they were engulfed by the overwhelming perfume of the Hindu flower bazaar. The bazaar marked the end of the city. Dr. Metha raised his hand to point towards a group of fine modern buildings fronted by well-kept flower gardens. "Our new government university," he announced with pride. "You can just see our original college, which you'll remember, through the trees." Indeed, John assured him. He did remember. He had been happy when he had attended it. Many of his fellow scholars had been the son of merchants and moneylenders from the Jain community, sent to the college to obtain a good command of English. He had always been interested in Jains. They were so determined not to kill anything, not even an insect or one of the souls they believed inhabited the air or crowded into root vegetables and unripe fruit. Their desire not to commit violence meant that they could not use any implement, be it plough or typewriter. So they were usually moneylenders or merchants, though there were many monks and nuns amongst them, and a fair number of scholars like Dr. Metha. "My bungalow is one of those facing the campus along the lane over there," said Dr. Metha. He clutched the side of the carriage as it bumped suddenly off the gravel road and into the rutted lane he had just indicated. Then, as it began to trundle more safely along, he asked, "I'm not sure, my dear John, what your plans are." John's voice was a little defensive as he replied, "My History of India is selling so well in the States and in Britain and India that I thought I might follow it with a history of the Gujarat, approaching it perhaps through the story of the Marwari Gate temple here in Shahpur." Dr. Metha nodded and directed the driver to his bungalow. "An old bachelor like me doesn't need a great deal," John said. He did not know how to explain to Dr. Metha his desperate need to rest and be quiet. England had been an alien to him as to any other immigrant. His upbringing in India had not prepared him for the difference in its way of life. The struggle to earn a living when crippled had also been exhausting. After the war, he had expected to marry the girl to whom he had become engaged before being taken prisoner, but she had looked with undisguised distaste at his torn legs and viewed with horror his tentative proposal that they should live in India. She had left him sitting in a wheelchair in a military hospital, and a month later had married someone else. This unhappy experience had tended to make him brusque and defensive with women, and he had never proposed to anyone else. He never considered that in spite of his damaged legs, he was still a fine-looking man, with his brush of black hair lightly touched with grey and blue eyes which normally twinkled cheerfully from under straight bushy eyebrows. He had never